We all yearn to follow what makes us happy, but can we talk about the pieces along the road to trying to achieve that happiness? Welcome. It's your boy, Coffee Man Ren, and we're back with another episode of The Adventures with Coffee Man Ren. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not new to the channel, welcome back. We missed you. How are you? How your mom and them? All right, so let's get into today's topic. Today's topic, we're talking about the pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness? No, not the movie. That's real depressing, but this will tie into this somehow anyway. With the pursuit of happiness, there are a few things that are required along the way that isn't necessarily something that would make you happy. So for starters, to find your path of happiness, and note, this is a ever-growing process. You will never get to the point where it's like, I am fully fulfilled. You will always have to continuously feed and figure out what's fulfilling as you go through your different phases of life. What made you happy and what made you fulfilled in your 30s is not the same thing that made you fulfilled in your 20s, and definitely not the same thing that made you feel fulfilled in your teens and in your adolescence. Obviously, we're just going to use this example. If you're a 40-year-old man or woman who has a child that's about to get ready to go to college, your thought process is not the same as you when you were 15. And the only thing that you wanted to do was go hang out with your friends, go to the park, go to the drive-in movie, etc., etc. Different fulfillments for different life phases. Along the way of trying to figure out what's fulfilling and what makes you happy, you have to figure out the things that make you unhappy, the things that make you mad, the things that irritate the snot out of you, the things that you're scared of, things that bring you anxiety. You have to figure out each of these elements and pieces to figure out, one, how to maneuver them, two, if you can, and if it's necessary, how to avoid it, and three, if you can't avoid it and you can't figure out how to maneuver it, at least figuring a way to manage it while you're in the moment. All these things are important to your happiness, important to your peace of mind, and important to having a fulfilling life. Also, I need to add this in here too. In no way am I a therapist. In no way am I a psychologist. In no way am I a motivational speaker. My only thing that I want to do is provide people a little tidbit per week that's a hand on your shoulder, a pat on the back, you got this, man, or you got this, child, or you got this in general, to anybody who's listening, for the things that you go through throughout life that sometimes we deal with silently. That's what I'm here for. I'm your biggest cheerleader in the background. Those are the main things. Figuring out what makes you happy, figuring out what doesn't make you happy, and any of the other emotions that are outside of happiness and fulfillment. To me, happiness and fulfillment are two separate things that work together. You can be happy but not feel fulfilled, or you could be fulfilled and be miserable. That's why I said those can be two separate things. All right, step two. These are not things to be acknowledged in order. Step two, in my head, is identifying your triggers and life events that have occurred that have shaped the way that you are as a person. Just using this as an example. You and your friends have all lived your own lives separately, regardless of how long you've known your friends, right? So within your friendship circle, people have different trigger points for things that bother them, things that make them scared, things that irritate them based off of previous life experiences. Even your partner in your relationship has something that occurred to them in their past that either they have told you or haven't told you that has shaped the way they are as a person and shaped the way they react, think, show love, show anger, how do they present themselves to the world, and how they present themselves to themselves. Because note, that is two different things. How you are to yourself and how you are to the world. If you choose to wear a mask, we get it. There are reasons. You have a reason. Your reasonings are valid. Maybe your reasonings might not be as accepted by the people that are around you, but more than likely your reasonings are valid because there is a root to it, whether you want to admit it or whether you even know what it is right now because it may be suppressed. Nonetheless, identifying your triggers and identifying your life events that have molded you is another way to getting to a point of happiness and fulfillment. Once you figure out the things that may have been rickety along the path, you can figure out what you need to do to fix it. Maybe this requires therapy. Maybe this requires conversations with people that you haven't talked to in a while or may need to talk to. Maybe this requires closure. Maybe this requires a little bit of aging and growing up, because sometimes it's not even about The incident itself is about your thought process with the incident based off of where you are in life. Maybe something happened to you at 15 and you didn't understand it until you got to your 30s or 40s. We've all had a few incidents where it's just like, that shit pissed me off when I was a teenager, but as an adult, it's just like, that was a me problem and not the other person, right? Now I'm going to dip into the fulfillment piece a little bit. Celebrating your small victories. I'm closing my eyes because this is also a piece to talk to myself because it's something I don't do. A lot of the time with fulfillment, we only feel fulfilled when everything has been checked off of the checklist. Even though each one of those check boxes are monumental moments in our lives, the big overall piece that made up that checklist is the only thing that makes us feel fulfilled. You have to celebrate the small victories that occur along the way to getting the big piece. There's 5 check boxes that make up this big, gigantic, monumental moment that you visualize. Though there were 5 big pieces that happened to make the monumental piece occur. Celebrate the small victories. Do not torture yourself in thinking, I didn't make it because I didn't do everything on my checklist. Celebrate the small victories. Those of you who are overworkers, overachievers, maybe the talented, gifted people that grew up in high school and you were in everything. You were in IB classes, dual enrollment classes, AP classes and stuff because that was your way of achievement and you never got your pat on the back growing up. Take your time to celebrate your small victories. It is your time now to pat that young child on the back, your inner child I'm referring to, for all of his accomplishments or her accomplishments that y'all have done along the way to where you are in life now. Celebrate the victories. It helps soothe both of you, the adult and the inner child. We need it. And again, I'm talking to me too, so this is why I'm so zoomed in. We need it. All right. And lastly, the last point I want to tackle with this whole fulfillment and happiness piece. Spend some time learning yourself. And I know it might sound weird to say that. Spend some time learning yourself. And the reason that I've even gotten to the point of saying this out loud is because over the last 3 to 4 years, really because of the pandemic, sitting down and being by myself was the one thing that I hated the most. Because for a while, in transparency, I don't think I fully liked myself until the pandemic forced me to be by myself for a little bit. And me beginning to enjoy time by myself, with nobody else around me, because there wasn't a choice, made me actually start to like being by myself. Backstory and point of reference, all throughout high school, all throughout college, I was an extrovert. Like, I'll go up and talk to anybody regardless. Even now, I still have the ability to speak to people and hold conversations with random strangers, but I'm less inclined to do it than I was when I was a teenager and in my early part of my 20s. At my current age, thanks to the pandemic and a few other life occurrences that have occurred, I've more so retreated to being more of an introvert than being extrovert. I'm a homebody. I enjoy being in my house. It's amazing. I mean, shoot, I'm recording in my house right now before I go get coffee. And it's been a glorious experience because of the fact that I have sat down and really started to learn myself. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like I'm an expert at me. It's still things that I'm learning through my lens and through other people's lenses of who I am and how I react and communicate with other people. It's a constant process. But I will say this, the more that you sit down and try to enjoy your own company, it's amazing. Like, I went on a solo trip for my birthday a year or two ago. I've done like 2 solo trips. And to go on a trip, not feel lonely because of the fact of you just enjoy who the hell you are and have a good time by your lonesome, it's an amazing experience. And I was like, if anybody has the ability to do it, I know it might be a little more difficult if you're younger. It might be a little more difficult if you're a woman because, ladies, I'm sorry. Life is some shit. Men are some shit and people do weird stuff. But if you get to do it and you're able to do it safely, take a solo trip. Do things by yourself. There's this book called The Artist's Way, which is the other reason why I really started like taking trips by myself, doing things by myself, because it was a segment in The Artist's Way that told you every single week along that 12-week process of that book to go and do an activity by yourself every week that was referred to as an artist date. I got the book like last year and I started doing it. I was doing it beforehand with the coffee shops, but I started exploring other things to see, one, what else did I like? And it was another way of exploring who I was as a person. Amazing experience. So if anybody needs a recommendation of a book, it's called The Artist's Way. Matter of fact, I'll even show you the book. Okay. Artist's Way. If you ever get the opportunity, get this book. It's not even that expensive. You can get it on Amazon. If you got Prime, it'll be here in no time. Life changing for me. I know people be like, books changing people's lives. I'm not even really a self-help book person, but that one was a good buy. I will say that. It changed my perspective. It helped me learn myself a little bit more. Take some time to learn yourself. All right. Some closing remarks. This whole process of learning yourself and everything, it's not an easy process. Main thing is don't quit on yourself. You owe it to yourself to find your happiness. It's a long and arduous journey, and it's never ending. Because again, like I said, your happiness is going to change throughout your years, throughout your life experiences, throughout your age. As people grow older, as you grow older, as you build a family, as you lose family members, everything changes. So it's just finding your happiness within the changes and the ebbs and flow of life. You can do it. Just don't quit. Embrace what you learn along the way. And my favorite part of this whole statement, embrace the weird shit. Because in my opinion, we are all weirdos in our own specific way. Now, how you're a weirdo and how you embrace being a weirdo is what makes it less weird. I know I'm a weirdo. I mean, hell, being a coffee junkie and going and getting coffee every single day is some weird shit to me. And depending on how I operate, everybody's a weirdo. Just embrace being one. Cool. And lastly, this isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. But a very specific marathon because you're the only one running. There's nobody else around you. If they are, they're NPCs. So who cares? They are literally there to put up the ambiance that this is a marathon. But this is about you. Take control of your marathon. Focus on your race. Stay in your lane. Whatever Emmanuel said on Wild 'N Out. Stay in your lane. That's all we're doing. So, yeah. Anyways, let's go get some coffee. That's what we're here for, right? Let's go. Got it. So after a year of planning, trying to figure out where this shop is and determining which location I wanted to go to, Burr Berry, I'm sorry, it shouldn't have took this long. We finally got something. So I got the bee's knees. This is a 30-ounce latte. I think I probably got too much coffee for the day, but who cares? So 30 ounces bee's knees. It is a honey and brown sugar cinnamon latte with oat milk, of course, because again, we don't do the cow milk in the coffee. And then also got me a donut. So yeah, we're gonna try this out. So coffee first. And it blends so well together. All right, a win. This will be easy on the way back. Now the donut. Like, you can taste the cinnamon in it. I also find it kind of ironic that I got the bee's knees latte, and in the midst of this, they're literally like bees pollinating this little plant in front of where I'm parked at. Hilarious. But nonetheless, this was well worth the quick little 15-minute drive to go get some coffee. I'm done smacking here, I promise. So, this concludes this episode of Adventures with Coffee Man Ran. We're shopping around the idea. I'm not really sure what the name should be. I just feel like it needs to be something else. But for now, it's Adventures with Coffee Man Ran. You're getting your coffee suggestions and your weekly message. But anyway, if you like this video, share it with your friends and family who enjoy coffee or are traveling to Charlotte in the near future. Here's another good old coffee shop right here on South Boulevard. Yeah, and go be great. And as always, peace and blessings.